Sam. Guitar, please. That's good. Gotcha. Alex, just try that. Yeah. Yeah, flute, please.
Stand where you're going to stand, and then we might actually be able to move in a bit. But like you can go like there.
Yeah, I'm going to put the microphone like this. I'm going to go.
I think yours will carry through though because it's so high, so you probably don't even need it.
Kira might need to point that up. Like if you drop the boom down a bit, and then point the mic up so it's not pointing at the kit. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, recorder mic, thank you.
I fucking made it.
Oh, well, I'll probably need you to try and, especially with the recorders, to try and get up right on that.
Yeah.
If you can organise that somehow.
The only way we can possibly get closer.
Can I hold the recorder? Is that going to help?
No, I'm okay.
No.
No, get your own.
There we go. Yeah. I don't know if you can both get that close, can you?
I can't really do much better
Together.
than that, though.
I just play really loudly.
So your sax will be fine. Emily, violin, please. Emily.
Jackie! This is way too close. Watch me sit next to Josh.
That's something. I think that works.
probably need you to try and get a bit closer to it when you play. Yeah. Lyndon. Yeah, thanks.
That was close.
Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for patiently waiting. Thanks for that applause from behind me. So we're here in this place where we've been for the last 16 years, the WHEATY Hotel, which is a brilliant place. And the person most responsible in this room for this place is Jade. To say that their support has been generous, or there's not enough superlatives that one can fit in a novel to describe the support they've offered us, and that continues right now, so I'm going to pass over to Jade.
Thank you. Welcome for you to try, Sam. That's fine. We're open late tonight, so we got some time. I'm going to talk about the beer in a minute, but before then, just a few words on behalf of the WHEATY in relation to COMA. And as I said, we're open late, so don't be dismayed. It's a long list. First up, happy birthday, COMA. It's an extraordinary effort. 16 years is amazing. A couple of months ago, we turned 18, so the WHEATY turned 18. And as Em mentioned, it's pretty much like we've grown up together, you know, from the very early days. And very early days at the WHEATY, the pub could most accurately be described as a affectionately regarded shambles. So it was pretty run down when Liz, Trotty and myself bought the place. And when we spoke to banks about borrowing some money to buy the licence for the pub, they pretty much told us that the place had negative goodwill. So it was worse than a startup, and it was like there was no way on earth they were going to lend us any money. The conventional wisdom was very much that Adelaide cannot support another live music venue, cannot support another non-pokey venue, and it certainly can't support one that's going to be looking at serving craft beer. So it was a big no-no from the banks. So we pretended to need to go on holidays and buy cars, and they happily lent us money for that. You know? So, although in retrospect, I had a pretty fucking weird idea of a holiday, because there's not much of that involved. Maybe if we'd told them that we also planned to host a volunteer, musician-led, musician-focused, not-for-profit organisation committed to original jazz, improv, it's getting better, classical, electronic and art music on a Monday night, things would have worked out differently. It would have been fine. It's always good to keep a bankable ace up your sleeve, I reckon. So we kept that quiet. So 16 years is long enough to see figurative and literal babies grow up. And I think that's been one of the things that we've really enjoyed is see kids, literal kids, who come into the pub and then, 16, 17 years later, they're serving beers behind our bar, or they're coming in to watch a gig with their parents. And with COMA, I'm sure it's the same. So there are students who've come to watch gigs here, who then play gigs on the COMA stage, then become part of the committee, and then graduate as full-blown musicians, head overseas, and get to come back and play COMA gigs with Bell or Burr, Lun, NY or NZ after their names. But they still came from COMA. Yeah. Just as there are easier ways to make money than running a live music venue, and certainly easier ways to make money than being a musician, there are easier ways to not make money than run a volunteer original live music association. And I think it's fair to say that COMA are gluttons for punishment. And I think it was Sam, I heard you mention once that you were drawn to the COMA committee for the admin, and you stayed for the music. So, fair cop. Someone's got to do it. Just as a pub is only as good as its people, COMA is only as good as its people. And COMA has been very fortunate with its people. Excellent people working damn hard to do great things, week in, week out, year in, year out. And particularly in the last sort of 18 months of bastardry, I think have conducted themselves and doubled down really with integrity and defiance. And I don't think it's any surprise that COMA was one of the first gigs, if not the first gig that we had with a live audience. So I think, hats off again to COMA for that. There must be over 700 shows that have graced the stage for COMA, which I think again is it's in for the long haul. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And COMA has always walked the talk that art matters and music matters in a world, certainly lately, that seems to be walking as fast as it can in the opposite direction. So hats off to the committee, present and past. Well done. Hats off to the amazing musicians who have graced our stage over the many, many years. Of course, hats off to Marty, so sound engineer extraordinaire, who always goes above and beyond the call of duty. And of course, to yourselves, the punters, who turn up every week, or every second week, or 2, 3, 4 weeks out of 4. Get out of the house and support live music and support COMA and support the WHEATY, and literally could not do it without you. So well done to the punters. It's been an honour to work with COMA over the last 16 years, and for our part, COMA is integral to the WHEATY, not just for the first and third fixture of the month, but beyond. Thebatonia, WHEATY Brew and Call birthdays, WHEATY birthdays, and heading into regular gig programming. So an essential part of the WHEATY over the last 16 years. The music world, and the WHEATY in particular, is better, smarter, kinder, more accomplished, and more adventurous with COMA in it. And I think it's fair to say that neither of us would be where we are without the sure footing of such a long-standing and continuous partnership. So here's to the next 16. Now, briefly about the beer. So we've collaborated with COMA. So the advantage of having our own brewery, which we're surrounded by, is that we can brew special batches for special occasions. So this Exquisite Core is the second version of Exquisite Core, and our 6th COMA collaboration. The first was, I think, the rather magnificently named COMA Toes, which was, by name, by nature, it was a double IPA at 9.7% and had many casualties and maybe a chipped tooth, but we won't go into that too much. And similar to the COMA programming, we like to mix it up a bit. So one year we'll tend to brew something that is quite challenging, shall we say, and then the next year something a little bit more familiar, but tight and technical at the same time. So the second year was Rizzicato, so it's a rice lager, clean, dry and crisp, which evolved into Rizzo, which is our house lager. So again, it evolved into something which is now part of the WHEATY staple lineup. Then it was COMA Chameleon, another terrible pun, but an excellent beer. That was a sour saison with mango and fresh lime. Then Molto Allegro, getting a bit fancy. It was a dark ale fermented with kvek, which is a Norwegian farmhouse ale, which ferments really quickly, hence the name Alto Allegro. And then the first exquisite core, which was a Kolsch. So many of you would have tried that. And this is V2's completely different beer. So the original Kolsch, German style, effectively an ale fermented at lager temperature, so very clean, dry, malty, and approachable. Is exquisite core V2. Surrealist style is not that. It's very light. It's a saison, so it's a Franco-Belgian style of farmhouse ale, effectively brewed provisions for farmhouses, people working on the farms. It's got multiple grains in there, so there's Pilsner, there's oat flakes, there's wheat, a little bit of acidulated for a tart tang in the finish, fermented with a saison yeast. Saison yeasts are often hybrid yeast, so there's a bit of wine yeast in there as well. There's wild yeast, there's bacteria, lactopedio, all those good things. So it's nice, light, spicy, dry. And just so we matched with the label, we put some orange zest in there as well. So there's a bit of orange zest, just for extra fruitiness and spice. And we used orangey hops, Amarillo, Mandarina, Bavaria, and Eclipse. So this now, launching as of today in can. We're only doing cans takeaway, so you can't drink this here. You can drink it here on tap, but not out of a can. And being Coma's birthday, we would normally sell these for 10 to go. We're selling them for 12. And those $2, I could make it more. Do I hear a 14? Selling it for 12, 2 goes straight to Coma, and then we will match that as well. So effectively, $4 for every can goes to Coma. So you get warm fuzzies. You get warm fuzzies, and you get warm fuzzies. So pick some up on the way out, takeaway only. That's enough from me. Thank you again, everyone. Thank you, Coma. And I'm going to hand you over to Alex to talk about the chart. Thank you.
How about Jade? I really love that every time you come to the WHEATY, there's a different beer on tap, and they're all delicious. I actually had some of this beer at my wedding. Yeah, that's how good it is. We're going to play, first up, we're going to play a tune which I believe is pronounced Coventry Can Take. Is that relatively close, maybe? No one knows. And this was arranged by, it's a traditional tune, I believe, about King Herod slaughtering innocent people. And I think that's what it says on the score. So, slaughtering babies. It gets even better. It gets even better. And this was arranged by Belinda Gellert. And here it is. we're going to play another tune now, which is written by Christina Guala, who is playing alto saxophone with us this evening. And would you like to say anything about this? Well, on that note, we're going to play... Oh, firstly, that featured Emil Rioch on the tenor saxophone. And also the alto recorder. Yes. The most popular instrument on the stage today. And also, it featured Sam Cagney on the electric guitar and Emily Tulloch on the violin. This next tune is a tune by Christina, and it is called Coma Tune. Thank you so much. We're gonna play one more tune for you, but before we do that, I'll introduce you to the Coma Committee. On the violin, we have Emily. We have Christina on the alto saxophone. Jackie on the clarinet. My name's Alex. I'm playing trombone. Also playing trombone is Maeve, who is in the painting, featured on the side over here. On recorders, we have Emil and Annika. On the flute and the piccolo flute, we have Kira. Our Coma chairperson, we have Sam Cagney on the guitar. On the double bass, Dr. Lyndon Robert Gray. And Josh Baldwin is playing drums. This next tune is kind of like when you create a new email address and the one that you have is already taken, so you just put a number after it. This tune is by Tom Pulford. It is called Coma 15. Obviously written as for the last year at the 15th birthday. It has not been updated to Coma 16, but yes. It's kind of like 2020. Yeah, forget about it.
The
Euro
Euro 2020.
2020.
Yeah, it was a funny joke.
Whatever Maeve just said, I'm sure it was delightful. I didn't quite. Yes, so this is our last tune. So thank you again for coming out, and thanks to everyone who's been thanked already. Marty Jones on sound, the Wheat Chief Hotel, all of you for coming out. And this is, we're going to play Tom Pulford's Coma 15.
Thank you. Keep that round of applause going for Alex, Maeve, Annika, Kira, Lyndon, Emily, and Jackie, and our special guest, Christina, who was also one of the composers, and she was the recipient of the Emerging Jazz Writers Award, which was presented earlier this year. So you're going to be hearing from her at COMA very soon. So thanks, Christina. Emil Riok on the flute and saxophone. Josh Bulbin on the drums. The other thing we forgot to mention was that Belinda last year was our featured composer, but her featured composer concert happened this year because that's what happened. So thanks very much for Belinda. And that was, yes. And the other thing I forgot to mention, and also thanks to our other composer, Tom, who's a former COMA committee person. Yeah, that was the right words, sorry. Yeah, sorry, when I heard Jay talking before, I was like, oh, it really pays to like be prepared and actually know what you're talking about. Maybe I should try that. So part of how we dealt with last year was that we got together and said, shit, what can we do to, to help the community? Because that's what this is about more than anything to me, is the community. So it's you guys, it's us guys, it's coming here on Mondays and playing some music and listening to music, and more than that, it's just hanging out and, just being together and making friends and whatever. So we got together and we said, what can we do? So there was two main things we did. So one was the Exquisite Corpse project, which has the accompanying Exquisite Corp business. Beer, fuck. That you can buy on your way out. I was thinking about, whatever. And so that involved us commissioning a bunch of composers. So March last year, pretty much everyone on this stage's calendars just emptied, along with just about every other musician in Adelaide. So a part of what we did to help that was that we commissioned this project, we got some funding, and we paid a bunch of composers a bunch of money, still not that much money, but some money, to help, to give them something to do and to create some work, which you'll hear next week. The other part of that was commissioning 3 composers to perform the tunes that you just heard. So that is that. I don't have any... What? Yeah, come back next week. It'll be good. You can read about it on the internet. I'm going to stop talking. Thanks for coming. See ya.